to Life in the 1900s newspapers. Today, we're in the Roaring Twenties. But where does the term Roaring Twenties come from? It may have come from a term called the Roaring Forties, which is a term for a latitude that has strong winds. And the 1920s sure was a strong wind of change. World War I had ended, and now there was prosperity and social changings and an aura of optimism. Well, let's see what optimistic news we can find today from the past. You're watching Life in the 1900s newspapers. We will be reading selected stories from the Martinsburg Journal newspaper from Martinsburg, West Virginia, dated March 28, 1929. For some reason in the 20s, they had lots of kidnappings. Listen to this one. Teacher left in woods by 3 kidnappers. Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, March 28th. Suffering from shock and bruises, Miss Margaret Dodson, 20, remained in the Nanticoke State Hospital while search continued for 2 men and a woman who kidnapped her and abandoned her in a wooded section. She is a teacher at a rural school in Muhlenberg. She was seized at the school yesterday, and while her frightened pupils looked on, was thrown into an automobile. Some of the children ran to their homes and told their parents, who notified the state police. The police found her several hours later. It is believed that it might be a kidnapping of revenge because the teacher reported a parent for not sending a pupil to school. I found this one interesting. Cheerful Sir George. Sir George Payish, durable English prophet, is at it again, nothing daunted by the fact that he has been issuing false warnings for the past decade. Sir George confidently announces that we are face to face with the greatest financial crisis the world has ever known. They laughed at Sir George in this paper in March, but a mere 7 months later, the stock market did crash and start the Great Depression. The well-equipped baby. A Chicago bachelor has been granted a patent for a baby carriage that can be rocked gently by an electric motor. He has not yet been able to accompany the rocking with a lullaby. There is a teeter-totter that can be worked by just one child. A spring takes the place of the second child. Do you remember playing on those gold playground equipment that is now banned for safety reasons? Oh, I found this clip from the 1970s. Take a look.
The safety-minded way. First, there should be only one person on each end at a time. Always sit facing each other and hold on with both hands. Avoid bumping or going too fast. That's dangerous and could break the teeter-totter. Always warn your partner before you get off.
I want to get off now.
Then get off at the same time, keeping the board as level as possible.
If you remember playing on these unsafe playgrounds, send me a comment below. I'd like to hear from you. Also, if you wait till the end of this video, you'll see more of this safety movie about how to play properly on a playground, which I think most of us didn't do. Sport briefs. New York. When Johnny Weissmuller tossed aside his title as amateur ruler of the waves by turning professional a few weeks ago, he stirred up a merry rivalry among his would-be successors, which promises to keep the water in a continuous state of agitated whitecaps at the National Indoor Swimming Championship meet beginning Tuesday. Stars from all sections of the country are entered. His own car. Sheriff E.F. Thomas has had a busy time of it for the past week, explaining to his many friends that the new REO Flying Cloud he has been driving was not purchased from county funds. Almost every other person he meets, the sheriff says, wants to know how much the machine costs the taxpayers. As a matter of fact, however, Sheriff Thomas personally bought the car from Taylor Jefferson, the REO local dealer, and paid cash for it. Bootlegger has close escape in mistaking patron. According to the story, the bootlegger had carried a 5-gallon keg of moonshine from his home to within 100 feet of one of the deep abandoned quarry holes in that section for the purpose of bottling the liquor. Just as he finished filling one baby nursing bottle with the liquid, a person came up to make a purchase, and he walked up with a flashlight in his hand. Being so accustomed to seeing the officers flashing their flashlights about in search of liquor, the bootlegger thought it could be no one but an officer, and grabbed up his keg and started to run. In his hurry to get away, he forgot the nearby quarry hole, with the result that he and the keg plunged down a 35-foot embankment into about 60 feet of water. When he reached the rocky shore, the bootlegger had his precious keg under his arm and, with the exception of being wet, appeared none the worse off for his experience. Stops colds in a day. Take Hill's Cascara quinine tablets at once. Hill's stops a cold in one day because each tablet combines the 4 necessary helps in one: breaks up the cold, checks the fever, opens the bowels, and tones the system. Hill's Cascara quinine. Starting Saturday, March 30th at the Apollo Theater, see and hear Lon Chaney in West of Zanzibar, starring Lionel Barrymore and Mary Nolan. And it has extra Vitaphone acts. This reminds me of another Lon Chaney movie made in 1927 called The Unknown, and it's very strange, with Joan Crawford. It's got to be the weirdest movie I have ever seen. Take a look.
She's got it. I never saw another have so much of such and such. She's really nothing with it, but after all, what is it? Lips and eyes, just like a million others, still what made me fall. It ain't that, that ain't it, that is that, and it is it, and she's got it, that's all.
Hello, Horn. What's going on? Hello, handsome. What are you doing up so early?
Sadie.
Surprised to see me all dolled up, huh? Well, why not? I had to put on my best this gay and glorious morning, didn't I? Besides, I'm radiant. Beautiful.
Let's take a look at the rules for using the slide first. When you climb the ladder, hang on with both hands. Take those steps one at a time. Don't be in a hurry. You should stay well behind the person ahead of you, unless you like the taste of shoe leather. When it's your turn, wait until the slide is clear and everyone is out of the way before you start down. Slide one person at a time, sitting up, and always slide feet first. The thing to remember here is keep a safe distance while waiting your turn. If you should get too close, you could be hit by a moving swing and be badly hurt. Never get close to a swing until the person ahead comes to a complete stop. When it's your turn, sit down, one person to a swing, and face the same direction as those next to you. Always swing sitting down, never standing up, and hold on with both hands. When your turn is over, come to a complete stop before you leave the swing. Remember, no jumping. When you get a hit playing softball, avoid throwing the bat. It might hit someone. Instead, drop it on the way to first base. Of course, in any softball game, the catcher should always wear a mask for protection. Here's another thing to remember. Keep your eye on the ball. even when you're not playing the game. Otherwise, you might be hit by a foul ball or a wild throw. That was a close one. To be safe, stay behind the backstop. The things you don't want on you are combs, pencils, pens, and scissors. At least not while you're playing. These sharp items can be dangerous on the playground. So be safety-minded and leave them in the classroom.